this shit. Put the Bible down and go out for a knife for this shit. DOT, my enemy, won't catch a vibe for this shit. Ayy, I've been stumped out in front of my mama. My daddy commissary made it to commas. Bitch, all my grandma's dead, so ain't nobody praying for me. I'm on your head, ayy. 30 millions later, know the feds watching. Auntie on my telegram like be cautious. I be hanging out at Thames, I be on Stockton. I don't do it for the gram, I do it for Compton. I'm willing to die for this shit, nigga. I take your fucking life for this shit, nigga. We ain't going back to broke, family selling dope. That's why you many ass rap niggas better know. If I try to slap a pussy ass nigga, I'ma make it look sexy. If I try to go hard on the bitch, I'ma make it look sexy. I pull up, hop out, air out, made it look sexy. They won't take me on my element, nah, take me. I'm allergic to a bitch nigga, ayy, an imaginary rich nigga, ayy. 7 figures, how that slimmer than my bitch figure, ayy. Going digital and physical on all y'all, ayy. Bunch of criminals and money in my phone calls, ayy. Me okay, me let the A1 fly. Relocate, jump on the same G5. Check it for me heavy, cause I go, yeah. They never been ready, yeah, I know, yeah. 100K spread across the floor, yeah. None of y'all fucking with the flow, yeah. Years in the making, they don't y'all mistake it. I got them by a landslide, we talking about races. You know there's never be a tie, just look at their laces. You know careers take off, just gotta be patient. Mr. 1 through 5, that's the only logic. Fake my death, go to Cuba, that's the only option. If I try to slap a pussy ass nigga, I'ma make it look sexy. If I try to go hard on the bitch, I'ma make it look sexy. I pull up, hop out, air out, made it look sexy. They won't take me on my element, nah, take me on my element. Damn if I do, if I don't, goddamn it's all if you won't. Damn, it's a goddamn shame. You ain't frontline, get out the goddamn way.
Neat.
Niggas thought they wouldn't go see me, huh? Niggas thought they cared that real life is the same like they see on TV, huh? Niggas wanna flex on me and be in LA for free, huh? Next time they hit the 10 freeway, we need receipt, huh? Cause most of y'all ain't real, most of y'all gon' squeal. Most of y'all just envy, but jealousy get you killed. Most of y'all throw rocks and try to hide your hand. Just say his name and I promise that you'll see Candyman. Because it's all in your eyes. Most of y'all tell lies, most of y'all don't fade. Most of y'all been advised. Last OP I tried to lift the black goddess, but it's a difference between black goddess and white goddess.
bass up. Turn the bass up. Yeah. Yeah. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking bass. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, dirty, stinking big. Dirty, stinking bass. Dirty, stinking bass. Big, dirty, stinking bass. Bass, 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 bass. I don't need no speed. No, I don't need no heroin. I don't want no coke. You can keep your ketamine. I'm a bassline junkie. I'm a bassline junkie. I'm a bassline junkie. And I like it funky.
My name is Giovanni Giorgio, but everybody calls me Giorgio.
I'm a fiend for a big bang bassline. When I feel one, I have a great time. I bet I'm not a man tool I require. I let the bassline take me higher. My friends think that it's a bad habit, but I'm just like, fuck you, Daniel. If you take my bass away, I'll blow your fucking face away. You might think I'm over the top, but when I hear that bassline drop, I just can't control my actions, but I still feel satisfaction. So don't come around here whinging. I just wanna hear the bassline rinsing, and we can just skank out all day. If not, the fuck out my way. I don't need no speed. I don't need no heroin. I don't want no coke. You can keep your ketamine. I'm a bassline junkie. I'm a bassline junkie. I'm a bassline junkie. And I like it funky. The other day I got a nice old Uber, and I think it's well out of order. My neighbours throwing a fit, so I told them suck my dick. And I told them I got the power, and I turned the music up louder. All night till 6 in the morning. Old bastards, they're just boring. You know what I mean? I'm the bassline farmer. Nobody can tell me Margaret. And the green turned up and it took me. We drove back to the nick and they put me. But they said they'd give me a portion. If I didn't get the no decision. But I said no, brother, I'm guilty. And my bassline fucking filthy. I don't need no speed. I don't need no heroin. I don't want no coke. You can keep your ketamine. I'm a bassline junkie. I'm a bassline junkie. I'm a bassline junkie. And I like it funky.
Gamers, it's me. We're listening to the Forbidden playlist. This is the random music to play on shuffle playlist on Spotify. This is a playlist that I compiled from a bunch of different playlists on Spotify, on SoundCloud, that were mashups of songs. Before I got into mashup playlists, like the big long form ones. This is where it all started. Is this all music? We're gonna yap for a bit because it's too hot to go straight into playing a game. We are gonna be playing Dark Tide, so I'm gonna switch to chatting real quick and then we'll switch to Dark Tide. Just because I'm sat here and I realise that I need to lace some shoes, so I'm just gonna yap. Very cool to see Russ Bucket in here straight away. That was very nice. Let's just pop in. Russ 7 Bucket. Mr. and Mrs. Bucket. Yeah, I got a pair of Vans that I need to lace up real quick. So, no. Colouring on these looks awful. These are green. You can't tell. With my lighting. Let's do a warm mood light sort of thing on the go. Another neat. Oh, there's already a kink in the laces in these already. I hate when my laces be kinky. Hydrate. Can and will do. Mystery liquid off the bat. Mystery liquid. Couldn't tell you what it is. So how's everyone day been? Mine's been a hot and heavy one. We decided to asset our server room this week, and we committed to the idea. I've got this wrong already. I put it in the trunk. I want right under. That one's weeping. Yeah, we decided to asset our server room of all the old assets. That was a choice. That was certainly a choice in this weather. The UK hit like 32 degrees today. So, absolutely crazy weather to be assetting a server room. So, I do have things to talk about today that I might show off. We did our test Lego stream over the weekend where we built the Lego Night Bus. We have more Lego streams coming up where we'll be doing it with the lav mic, doing it effectively on the go. But we change up the locations. So I don't have this right, it's fine. I was just looking at this like up in the trunk, but I haven't. Just straightening all these out. So I'm just wondering how everyone else's day's been so far. How have you handled the heat? If you're in a hot country right now, which it seems like most of Europe seems to be on fire. And then that comes in the top. I've done this wrong, but I'm committing to it. Day of the week. Oh god, who's the artist who sings this little bit? Oliver Tree, isn't it? So first, right, then left, then right. So this should actually be left over. The song's called Cool Music Bro by Crypto Digital. If anyone was wondering, because I have the music thing that pops up for SoundCloud. I've done a pattern on these laces by accident that I've committed to that I have to then replicate on the other shoe so that they match. Anybody else hate lacing trainers themselves? So, left top. So now this one has to go here. And this one has to go here. There we go. One shoelace. They look messy right now, but when you put them on and you pull all the laces through, and it's fit to my foot, it'll look good. The top looks a bit messy, I'll admit. The crosses aren't centered, but they'll sort themselves out over time. That's one shoe done. There you go, you can sort of see the green now. That's one shoe done. Whilst we sit here. Don't worry, this isn't the music we'll be listening to all stream, by the way. I will be playing, like, some of the ads that I made the third show today. I need to download them first, really. Oh, it's so hot though. What? Wait, no, I don't even need to download them. I already have them on my machine. I made them. I'm like, I'll download them from Discord. Why would I? They're on my machine. I made them. Right, so. So we do it the opposite way with these now. I love this song, this mix. Alright, and then this one comes across. Oh, I really messed up the lace on this one. Pulled it through too much. Boop 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 boop. I don't know. Psycho, a little bit psycho. Oh my, 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 my. Oh, world. Now, wouldn't that be sweet? Was that the one I was supposed to do this on? I think it was. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, that was. Damn it. This is where the laces are supposed to cross over. Through the little tag in the front of the shoe that holds the tongue up. If you've never had a pair of Vans, there's different patterns that you can lace them in that I'm experimenting with. One of the things you have to do is put it through the tongue. A lot of other shoes come pre-laced, these don't. You have to lace them yourself, especially because they're so new. I'm trying what I think is called a cross stitch lace, but it's like a reverse stitch over. Okay, so that then goes first. and then we switch over. For the last lace, and then we should just have one hole left, which you don't use unless you're like pro skater or BMX, or you don't lace your shoes either. You just run the laces through, like you run them in here and run them up like this. You run them up with the last one, so they end up inside the shoe. Because then when you do your knots, they sit tidy in here. I've never done this before with a pair of Vans, where I ran the laces through like this at the top. But apparently it adds like a little bit of ankle support. Just a tiny bit, not a lot. But somehow whenever I do this, the laces never seem to feel like they match in length. And one side always feels longer than the other. I'll wear these in sometime this week. That'll be a stream where I'm seeing wearing these. There you go. We've done our yap and shoelacing section stream. That's still time killed. I'm gonna go to Warhammer now. I wish it was a baller. Taller. 6'4" Impala. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, do I just stick with this music for the night? No, we've got the in-game music for Dark Tide at the moment. We were nothing. Right, back to Dark Tide. Dark Tide. You get to play some more Arbites today, which is quite nice. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. Oh god, my eye. Ugh. Making my character poor in Dark Tide by accident by getting an Arbiter, leveling it. It wasn't intentional, I promise. Come on, Dark Tide. It might be hard, but I want to play game. Please. This game. I wonder if we get drops for this stream automatically. Or if I have to turn it on. I wonder how that works. I'll check. Do I get drops? Do I get drops just for streaming this game? We'll pet the Mastiff in a second. Let's go to my channel. I think because I'm affiliate and I'm streaming this, we do get drops. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know how I see. No, don't care about that. No, don't care about that. No, don't care about that.
The Mobians are gaining ground.
I wonder how I turn that on.
Cannot permit this. Duty rotations are to be
Create a
extended
dashboard?
with immediate effect.
Content. There's new information of monetization for subscriptions, which I'm not touching. Content. No. Community. No. Analytics. No. Settings. Channel. Moderation. Stream survey. Viewer rewards. Power to avoids drops. Do I have to turn drops on? Drops enabled. Oh, cool. There, we should get drops for playing this too. I assume. When turned on, your followers will be alerted when they have a chance to earn drops in game. And simply take 5 minutes to... Okay, cool. So 5 minutes from... That was me just quick reading. Hello, Death Grips. Come here. You're a good boy. We've got a Freya there. Wait, we should have a bunch of new clothes as well. Or new weapon skins. Wonder where they show up. I'm not under cosmetics. What? I wonder where they show up. I think we left ourselves end of last stream. Yeah, we're close to 16, so we got a secondary what they called thing here. Let's just check to see if there's anything else in here.
Yes. Can I be of service?
Nothing that he's going to offer me now for a while is going to be worth it compared to what we're already rocking. Other than here, for max health and toughness. I'll take that. Might be useful. I hope I served you well. Come on, Death Grips. See what we got here. Echo 2905. Jet. Somebody named their dog Jet. What a good name. I think this is the final bit of the story before we get to start picking our own difficulty. I only learned recently that if you look up there, you can see Boss Man. I've looked around this place loads and loads and I've never spotted him before because he's just a small little guy, but somebody else posted about it. Luther, Dag, and Baltoff. He's an arbitrator, but he didn't have the dog. So he's a one-man tank. And then we have a one-man tank Ogrin. And then we have me and Dog. I need to change my character's hair with this helmet. See if I can poke the Ogrin into readying up.
I have something special for you today. Wormwood agents have confirmed the location.
So the Ogrin's set and built right now to take aggro.
The twins have made something of a name for themselves since returning to Atoma, and they have a body count to match. If anyone knows where Wolf is hiding, it's them. Take them down, but leave one breathing. I want a prisoner capable of talking. We can't risk Wolf knowing we're coming, so this mission is strictly off the books. Get in, get one of the twins to volunteer, and do the Emperor proud.
Bum 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 bum. Get on, dog.
Explicator Zola, kindly explain yourself.
We have a line on the Karnak twins. Wormwood Agent 42.
Is compromised. Withdraw your team while you still can.
No, we can't miss this opportunity. The strike team is already committed.
Oh, this one would be kind of wacky. There's no music.
Meat for the cauldron! Right where he said you'd be. Weaklings! You wouldn't last a day in the
Kind of BS how they can just teleport.
Perhaps that is for the best. Explicator, extract your strategy.
They can still accomplish their mission. I have faith in them.
And will you have faith in their corpses? You heard her. Walter knows. This is a trap.
It is an opportunity.
Remember the skulls? We can't read the skulls. Take the grenades though.
I warned you before about your obsession with Walter.
This isn't obsession. It's strategy. We need to fight back.
We will.
Death Grip's helped.
Not yet.
Let's go.
Sorry, Lucian.
And how many more will die while you scratch at your data slate?
You must not let it become personal. Walter's time will come.
Yes, it will.
Big cleansed of sin.
Big cleansed of sin. I'm taking that.
Enough, Firebrand! I am not your target! Let me see you there!
God, we just whacked through fellas like nothing.
I see Rindy's tenderized you. My turn!
You are not in control here, Zola. They are.
From that beauty!
Chicken. We wiped him.
Fox chatter confirms that enemy forces are converging on the strike team's location.
Then we keep moving. Stay ahead of them.
You're not listening, Zola.
I
I
need-
applaud initiative, of course.
Grenades.
All mankind
Oh, thank you, dog, for prioritizing the far range
Wendell gave me a free hand.
enemy.
You know how we have labored to undermine Mobian morale. Everyone is expendable, yes, even this strike team. But if they die here and now in a trap you've blundered into, Walter will crow about it from the rooftops. You'll undo weeks of work.
Undo weeks of work. I think we'll be fine.
Path be blocked, but faith shall guide us on!
Oh yeah, it's this one. Let's go! Fight zone. We stand up here. I love this one. This is a mission I didn't do until it was like the challenge hard end fight mission.
Have a taste of Tox gas.
God, the dog's so strong here. Not affected by the pox at all. There we go. Blue armor, well-oiled kill team. Grenades, thank you. Do we have a fight here? Yeah, we do.
What a feast you'll make!
We should have won that. They should have just died there.
The traitor box net is ablaze.
Getting dog.
To extract your team, it must be now.
I have to
Or
get
don't.
the Wolfer.
That's fine.
I have to know.
No. What? Very well. Executor Zola, I relieve you of your responsibilities to this mission.
No, you can't. You can't do it.
Oh, poor Zola.
You tried to stay alive.
In the bath right now. Are you having a tinny third? Are you having a tinny in the bath? I was meant to show those like that on stream today. Where's my tinny? Tinny here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Badly,
Uh-oh.
brother.
Uh-oh.
Try not to embarrass me.
Get him, dog. Get him, dog. Let's go. Oh, ow. Can I put my grenade? Second grenade, maybe? I can't stop showing people those ads just because, like, creative first that happened to make them happen. Ugh. Oh. What is this? Oh, it's race back Forest. I have an amazing funny idea for a callback bit. I have a couple ideas for like a potential like follow-on ads,
Lieutenant Masusi, the
Get him.
strike
Oh.
team requires immediate extraction.
but nothing immediate.
Yes, I see. Understood. Alternate extraction is not available.
Also, I really thought at the end of your thing yesterday you were going to replay all the ads.
No fancy work.
Just replaying the first bit so you get to show me in the bath again right at the end.
Including the
I thought it was very funny.
Their deaths will salvage something from this.
A double feature. My nipples on your stream. Boy, this ain't good. Oh, we get, oh, it's yeah, it's the fight, isn't it?
You've come this far. Surely you're not gonna turn back now.
No, I ain't gonna turn
We're
back now.
waiting in sub-level 4.
You made the exact same ad. Okay. I'm listening. Making health. But after the PSA,
Ammo!
it cuts back and I'm in the bath spooning you. That's... I like the idea. I do think it's a funny idea. I just thought you'd say it till he cuts back and it's you in the bath, not me. Making intense eye contact with the camera. It would be a funny bit. Okay. I'm listening.
Don't they look
You're getting half of my attention before I go into a boss fight.
If only we
One that
could
requires
make this
intent.
last.
Tinny's in the back co-stream.
Still playing with your food.
I do like the idea of Tinny's in the bath co-stream where people can call in using the Twitch call-in system.
You won't leave here alive.
Where do we stand for this? Can I just throw this down here? Can I throw this here? I actually don't know where to stand for this fight at all. I like Therapy Gecko. Therapy Gecko? People like Austin TV's I don't know. Austin TV's podcast in the bath. I think it was. Streamers in baths. Oh yeah, this shotgun trivializes this now because you can just wipe out waves. Oh, and the dog trivializes it too. This fight's so much easier with the dog. Though in a second we do have to literally run. Assuming the bathroom's gonna be hilarious. Smash! I like the idea of like getting a bunch of streamers together to do a stream in the back. Where's the light? Where's the light? Where's the light? I'll put this here. Nobody really needs health yet, so I'll hold it. We can put the category as hot tubs, what's it called, pools and whatever. When your advance is a bit off, you're quiet king. Yeah, I'm not talking majorly loud into my microphone compared to the game. So again, just like to crank this down a lot. I've been trying to mess with it. Hey fella. Saved. Dog hard carrying right now. Oh, just the one. Right, now to start the next one. I've been trying to mess with my audio a bit more and trying to figure out. I don't know what's a good setup to have for my audio. Oh, this is bad. Can I press F? Yeah, F. There we go. Uh oh. We're good. We're good. I get super self-conscious with this mic because of the way that my audio is split, because you can properly hear me breathe into this mic, and I peak it really easily, but if I have it too far away, I'm super quiet, because it is a podcast mic. Death Grips the dog is just doing his thing. Get him, Death Grips! Good boy! God, Death Grips so good. Yeah, it's gonna be a hot tub, hot tubs, beaches and pools stream, but people can call in. Get a couple tinnies, sit in the bath. Alright, Rinder's dead, which means Rodin should be good to go soon. Rodin's gone. Now we're just head popping. God, I got like so many scab rages then. I'm glad I've done that on an easy difficulty, because the first time I did that was on such a hard difficulty. It took me like 7 attempts to complete it.
I'm very impressed by your ability. I am certain we will speak again soon.
Wow. Yeah, we can definitely do a hot tub stream. The arbiter that doesn't have a dog is taking the pose where he sits next to a dog. I see how it is, arbiter. 230 war gear, shockmore 15. Oh, let's go. I think we can knock it to 300 now. I think, unless it's already there. We can get 350.
I suppose all's well that ends in something other than complete and utter failure.
All's well that ends well.
Has only intensified the cultists further. I wonder why. Understand that while I am pleased at how you acquitted yourselves, Augustine will be stepping back from operations while she renews her perspective. We may be an unusual little band, but we must be disciplined.
Thanks, Rennick.
Hopefully I won't have call to remind you of that. The Emperor protects.
Shout out to Rennick. Bossman. Don't you pick a day? We'll do the bath stream. Several years ago.
The Mobian 6th Infantry Regiment were ordered to Nox Alpha. death world in the outer Mobian fringe to quell an unknown uprising plaguing the planet. 50,000 of the Emperor's finest men and women. We had no idea what we were up against.
Captain, are these dogs ready to die?
Yes, sir.
I don't know what's worse, the enemy or that carking commissar.
I guess we'll find out soon enough. Now quiet down.
Oh my god. Shooting people that tried to retreat because they're cowards. It's crazy.
Defeat was inevitable. We prepared to sell our lives for the Imperium. But as despair festered, a stranger walked among us.
Heretics! By the throne, you will all pay for this!
Oh my god.
We were taught what it meant to be strong, to be blessed. And thus we became the true defenders of humanity. How will your false emperor protect you now?
That's wacky. That's crazy. Come on, Death Grips. Let's see some of the dog names whilst we're here. We have Tellum. We have Rexington. What a good name for a dog. Sol. Sol 1899. Isn't that the sun? Is that the full star designation of the sun? We get a psycho thing soon. 300. 226, no, I beat it. You can get a red chest piece if you want. No, we'll stick with the blue. Oh, we can have another curio. So this one's 13% max health. And this one's 14%, so we're going to buff that to all hell in a second. We have one skill point to spend. Damage versus suppressed enemies. Corruption resistance and 70%. Oh, that's so good. Reduce damage taken from Tox. Staggering an enemy grants one stack of 3%. 1 stacks of 3% damage resistance on the next melee hit taken. Clip size rounded up. Movement speed and range hits. I think we go with Rebreather, so we get corruption resistance and reduced damage taken from Tox Gas. And we go down this tree now for multiple levels, because we'll get stacks of ranged justice. Ranged attacks grant stacks of melee. Your melee attacks while you have melee justice stacks more, and then eventually we could also get something else. Hey! Thank you for the raid, Tom.
Tucky raided my stream with 1 views.
Tucky indeed. Did you finish Doom? Did you doom the Dooms? Wait, when did shop reset? 17 minutes. Right, I can max this.
I can improve your armies if motivated.
Me, consecrate, bam. what have we got currently? Combat snipers experience. So let's refine this. So let's go for combat. Resistance to snipers again. And we also want to go for experience whilst we're leveling. How's the DLC? It's good. Doom is now done. So Tom, it's crazy if you get a stack of 4. Here's my dog. Let me stand up to the side. Here's Death Grips, my pet dog. I'm currently stuck in animation to pet him. He's not happy. There's Fenton, someone else's dog. Fenton! PC Rob Banks and his dog Fenton. He's a very good boy. Can I consecrate these more? Because we're at 300 and we can go up to... Entreat, this, empower. Oh yeah, let's go. 1, 2. This thing's crazy. The level that is letting me consecrate this weapon to right now, the damage, this is insane. I'm spending all my money on this sort of stuff. 50 at a time. I'm not going to be able to consecrate this to max, am I? Oh, very close. I have 1. Oh, this is crazy. 1037 damage hip fire, 6 ammo with stopping power, 20% damage on 2nd, 3rd, and 4th salvo, and a weak spot damage on 2nd, 3rd, and 4th salvo. This thing's crazy. This is Relentless Strike. I need to level this some more. I think I have a... Can I put a point into that currently? I don't think I can. My shock maul. 5 levels left. Okay, I can't. Furios. I've unlocked the last 2, so I've got bonus health. This thing's crazy. Light attack 247, heavy attack 341. Flak and carapace. I need to change... I know I need to change this one over to be something else. This one needs to not be carapace. This one needs to be... If I refine it, it should be 20% to unyielding, because it's 25% to unyielding.
It is done.
Oh, and then I can refine this now to actually be to flak armored. Be 25% damage to flak.
A new marvel is awoken.
So basically, I'm now overpowered. This character is overpowered AF, and oh, we still have so many campaign missions to do. Let's go. Yeah, like they've redone the campaign system for leveling up a character, so you actually play through the entire story in order.
Me, my darlings.
My darlings.
Let's make some trouble, shall we?
Shall we?
Sick, scruffy-looking ruffians they are paying off their sympathizers. Brendel's spies say it's a haul of prismata crystals, and I want them. Hot foot it to the meeting point, acquire the crystals.
Oh my god!
We'll be best mates.
I got jumped on by a Destiny 2 figure. My Titan from Destiny 2's just fallen on me, off my shelf, above me, because I moved them all for Lego. I will be joining them and moving in a second, so I'm just, like... This guy just fell on me. Where's the webcam? This guy just fell off my shelf because I was bouncing my leg. So. Where are we? Oh. Luther and 2 bots. We should be fine. Oh, Tom, if you're still here, if you stay in this game because it shouldn't be that long, I'll show you the ads I made that went on somebody's stream today. Not today, but this weekend. It's a sign to play more Destiny? No, it's a sign to play less Destiny. I'm free. Am I going the wrong way? I'm going the wrong way. It should be a quick level, and then I'll show you the ads that I made. Fellas, what's going on? Oh, heretical idol gone. Go on into the zone. This shotgun's insane. This really is crazy. We're getting less bots now. Pingu's joined. We have the penguin Pingu. Fellas, you in the wall. Oh. Dude, is it an ad for your own brand of underwear? No, but in one of the videos I am in my underwear. I'm not even going to deny. I am in my underwear for one of the ads. Luther, Luther responding newt newt to Pingu. Let's put this here. Put this here.
Me.
I'm just speedrunning through this level because it's not hard. Put this here. Anybody that comes up behind will get popped. I want this. You really just can't walk through the levels with Arbiter at the moment. So the way the dog works, Tom, it's automatic. Like, it will just find the closest enemy. I have a thing set so it will also look for the ranged enemies. I could probably sit in a... Oh. So, he just picks a nearby enemy and attacks them, or picks a ranged enemy like a sniper, and we'll just gun for them. Are we moving bits? Oh, okay. This is going to be easy then, because the dog will just protect me, for the most part. If I didn't just waste all my stamina then, I could, it's faster than it's ever running, just to, like, sidestep. Because every time they try and attack, it will count as dodge. The dog is, like, a perfect addition. It's such a... having 4 dogs with 4 arbiters... And if you double mark an enemy, which I do when I shoot anyway, like single mark, it sends a dog to go after them. So like if there's a heavy in a spot that's away from you, if I double click, it will mark them and the dog will go after them. The dog's just running about on his own right now. If the dog's near any of us, we get our toughness back, so we get coherency from him. So he's just running around all the time. It's nice to see them fix this game. It was not like this for a long time, and it's still not perfect. Right, so I've sent the dog after him now. I've marked him for the dog. The dog, when it finds opportunity to go over there, will just run. Like, dog's over there now. The dog will just run after him now. See, Death Grip's got him. I turned around and looked away, and then came back, and Death Grip's got him. Can this open already? I want to get through this. I want to get through this level as fast as possible so I can show you the ads I made. I'm running. And... put this. Grab this. Put this here. Put this here. Welcome to the fight zone. It's stacked in my favour. Any that run near me get electrocuted, any that come into the area get debuffed. Literally making a fight ring for them to come and challenge me in. And then I can just whack them. Wait, should we just sit here? Give me a second. I'll try and put one of the ads on now. Over the top of the stream. I'll put the Pokemon ad up real quick. Are you an aspiring Pokemon master? Let's go. Do you play Pokemon cards? This isn't fit to screen. What are you doing?
Stop it! Do something else! Pick a new hobby! Grow up!
Try Warhammer. It didn't fit it to screen properly. Oh, I know why. Because I'm selecting the wrong thing to fit to screen. Alright, let's go back. Back. There we go. I'll replay that one in a second. Are you an aspiring Pokemon master? Do you play Pokemon cards?
Stop it! Do something else! Pick a new hobby! Grow up!
Try Warhammer. The adult's hobby. There you go. There's the one ad. And then the next one is this one, I believe. Is it this one? I believe the next one's this one. I promise, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm a sane man. Would a crazy man do this? That was more perfume ad style.
The thoroughfare may be empty, but we are never alone. The enemy gathers in the shadows.
The enemy gathers everywhere. That's the problem.
As hearing the source in the background is great, yeah. It's you know. And then I have one more to play. Where do we go? We're going the wrong way. I can never remember where we need to go. Oh, I see. Fight Club. Anyone wants to go to Fight Club? Is this not the way that we go? No, this is the way that we go. This is this way. Oh, this way? Maybe? Oh, I found it. Maybe not. Oh no, they found the way up. We're gonna get actual ads in a second, which, you know, is not cool, game. Where do we go? I'm lost. Oh, we'll follow Pingu. We'll follow the penguin. Then we have one more ad that I'm gonna play in a second. That is a bit more risque. But I heavily encourage the message that is set in it. Get him, dog. Got him. With 3 out of 4 on the heretical idols. They're just not seeing these. I'm spotting a lot of them today.
We don't have time for you to be taken in the sight.
We do. It's this direction we need to go now. God, this thing headshots so hard. Get him, dog. Ow. Get him, death grips. Let's go. Alright, let's get the last ad up real quick. Nope, that's the audio from it. What's it called? Dog protecting me. They're all in the same folder. I'm just gonna find them. It's the thing. I'm getting down. Come on, Pingu, lead the way. We'll rush through this. I actually know where I'm supposed to be going. I'm just running. I hope for the best. She don't like being disappointed. She don't. Oh, yeah. Got him. Put this down here real quick. Make it a little fight zone. And let's go. Welcome to Fight Club. It's so funny how that works. They just gave the Arbiter just such strong weapons. It's like having an Ogrin tank, but it's a regular human. That's how strong this character can be. The dog gets a bonus as well for doing ranged attacks, so if that enemy runs away, the dog gets a buff. Ooh, cut it in half. Crazy damage.
Strike with precision, with certainty. Let none stand in our way.
Take this. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna put this down real quick. I'm looking for this bath video real quick. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, bath. Here we go. The last one.
Rules are rules, but a wise man knows.
I knew it. How much?
Tom, you've not used your Twitch Prime again, have you?
I'll settle the 20% of the proceeds.
Have you used your Twitch Prime sub? I know, thanks, man. I got my nips out for the internet for a funny bit. You have used it, okay. I can't remember if you had or not.
And now it and they are trapped by heritage.
Oh, you used it like quite a few streams ago, didn't you? Oh, it's this fight. So yeah, so funny comedy bits. I'll get my nips out. Alright, I basically want to stand here and just like exist. You after I raided, did you? Today? Here? Because it hasn't popped up if you have used it. But you're getting it up for me. I will. I have. You've seen me in my underwear. We shared a room together. We shared a bathroom where you couldn't lock the door. We've been there, done that. Oh, that's a teammate. Absolutely just blasting people now. Thanks, Death Grips. Yeah, I did not get any sponsors. Oh, till July 1st. January 1st. It's a long time to your next sub, Tom. But I can't use Prime something. It says Jan 1st. That doesn't seem right. Let's go. It broke. Ooh. I'd have a word with John Twitch about that one. Prime sub too hard. True. Based and true. Let's go. I missed it. Luther, by the way, is just getting absolutely like domed over there. He's not having a good time. That guy just coming in swinging with a warhammer is so funny. The dog just grabbed someone. No, leave Pinko alone. Don't know how we managed to get corrupted as well when we are literally have the ability to, you know, have resistance to corruption. Put that there. Anybody that walks in the middle also gets buffed. So I keep misclicking on players. Death Grips is getting way more kills than I am. Does he just shoot across the screen then as he's diving for someone, but they died? Just like disappears right in front of us. I love it. He just disappeared off the map and then just like reappears here. Look at him go. What a little fella. This is like a perfect spot for him because every attack is ranged. See, shoot him when they're down. Another penance. Another skin for him. He's a good boy. He's such a good boy. This shotgun's damage output is also crazy. I need to grind for a while to get some materials now because I've spent them all. Is this one? Oh, it's the Galahorn that fell off the Titan.
Some outside force is preventing the blast gate from opening.
Ba 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 ba.
Ammo crate!
Go on, Death Grips. We're literally here to protect this guy. Anything that gets near him, whack him. Bo bo bo. I've never seen a mission where you actually have to take an item out of the level. This is new. Wait, what's here?
Let it back down!
There we go. So yeah, so I made three ads. The Pokemon one's my favorite. I'm gonna remove them from here now. But they were made for. I'm gonna give them a shout actually. Shout out to Third Dinner. Third's radio show is really good.
I confess that I'm somewhat conflicted. I know that Morrow gave you one of his little warnings about loyalty, betrayal, and woeful inevitable consequences, but still you decided to swan around like a pirate at this Halloween woman's request. Melk I'll deal with later, but make no mistake, you work for me, not the Commodore, not the ship mistress, not
Hydron, not Swagger, not even Man. Oh, Morrow.
I do hope our working relationship isn't going to end with me manfully refusing to shed a tear over your executed corpse. The Emperor protects.
The Emperor protects. God, he's so petty. He's like, I'm the boss of this ship, and anybody else that comes in that says they're the boss of me is wrong. How do I... I'm trying to fix this Destiny character that fell off onto me. There we go. You can just stand here for now. The Titan can just stand on my desk. You can just lean. Oh, he's dropped a shotgun again. Oh, whoops. We're gonna look into their hour stream. Just saying now, there will be no stream on Wednesday.
Even at peace.
Ooh, dog cosmetic. Cosmetics for my dog. What's the difference? Red? Oh, we're keeping the red stripe. Definitely keeping the red stripe. We unlocked a... something. It doesn't matter. Talents wise, another skill point that can go into clip size. More ammo is good. Masteries, shock maul. What do you want to level? Hammer blow? 25% impact for 3.5 seconds, stacks 5 times. I think we want that. We definitely want to level that. I think we want to put that on now. So I'm just verbalizing.
How may I serve?
Nothing here beats, nothing here sweeps. 15% max health, that sweeps.
Look upon your weaponry with respect, for it is beloved.
How much is it going to cost to do this? Consecrator. I can't consecrate. Oh, that sucks. Okay, I'll hold on to it. We have to run a lot more higher levels to do that, which is fine. We get to refine. Is that going to cost? Or rebless? Strength of stamina depletes is getting swapped out for hammer blow, because hammer blow relentless strike is 25% impact and plus 10% strength for 2 seconds on hit on the same enemy. So basically, like, for every hit I swing on an enemy, I get buffed. That stacks 5 times. No quarter? Alright, let's go. I also think I'm streaming tomorrow.
Our orders are to drive the heretics from a designated sector of Throneside. There is an old Aegis station in Enclavum Barros. We take it as our beachhead and hold for reinforcements.
Possibly, I don't know.
Entrusted me with this mission.
I might be doing repo tomorrow in the new update.
Do not forget that.
Oh, we just partway into a level. Oh, new song. It was really weird that I watched him jump over that thing. I have to remember that I unbound jump so that I could slide. The Lex is the Lex.
The mechanism's power has ebbed.
Get him, dog. Got him. Oh, I have that. I might just stand up here and survive. Yeah, I think I'm doing the repo stream tomorrow with people from the fabled cook community. At some point this week, I plan on finishing the community Discord. Let's get this out. Because I have a request of people coming up for a stream that I'm doing in July, which is Voice of the Void, but I want people to make radio ads for me. So I need MP3s of ads for, like, fake products or things that they think are funny. Or even for their own streams. For, like, parody ads for, like, their own streams, where it's just them talking to a microphone. Just to play randomly interspersed on the radio with music. Because you can add custom content to the game, so I want to add some custom content. I don't even know what I'm doing, I'm not paying attention. Oh, they're still doing that. I'm just gonna stand here. Oh, yay. The damage in the small stacking so hard is awesome. Goes so hard. So yeah, third, if you want to... I've made ads for you. If you want to make some fake radio ads that are just audio clips, they will be put into a video game that I'll be playing next month. I'm looking for video clips and audio clips. Just like people advertising their own stuff. Or advertising fake products, like baby powder. It's for babies, not for you. Do you like Cocoa Pops? Why? Kellogg's. Just fake product names. Get ChatGPT to generate some fake product names and then make an ad based on that. Flexi tape. Tape so flexible you'll bend it like Beckham. Oh my god, missing all those shots then. Did I actually deploy that grenade then? Oh, I did. Oh, cool. Fight club. Come on, fellas. fighting in this. Yeah, good dog. So I need a bunch of fake ads or just people leaving like comments. Some of them I want to be conspiracy theory based. So like Bigfoot breakfast every week at Greg's or something like that. Like fake ads for real products of like events and stuff. I hear him. That's funny, that guy running. I was gonna ask Ghost to make a few. See if he'll make me some fake ads or make some radio ads for like his stream, Kip's stream. They'll just be played at random in the game when I get unlock the radio. I'm gonna pre-fill a lot of the like things with like music. Voices of the Void's versatility. Oh, Amicus. Really just make it a wonder game for like custom content. Oh, we can't help him. He's so far back behind.
He looks at me like something stuck to his vambrace after a messy judgment.
We literally can't help him. That's so unfortunate. We just have to run off without him. Didn't we play with Luthor last round as well? Even better. Oh, the grenades. We just have to find out where he's going to be and rescue him. Oh, there he is. We see him. Oh, I thought I was picking him up then, I wasn't. And bonk. Remember when this game used to be difficult? Oh, number. Getting a speed boost when doing melee on a heavy. Give me that. Push the button.
Activate the landing beacon.
Literally threw a bomb in the fight ring. Oh, there's 3 dogs about. I wish I had more grenades. This whole survive arc of this is like crazy easy. And I pretty much got home today and have slept. That's all I've done since I got home. Go on, Death Grips, get him. He's going for him. Go on, Death Grips. Go on, Death Grips. Yeah! What a good dog. We're hitting enemies from here with this shotgun. It's how far the range is. We're going to hit them from all the way down there. Like, I'm popping headshots from this range. All this way over here. Can't hit a skull with it. Yeah. That skull's busted, alright? That skull's broken. Can kill a sniper though. Hear my decree. Bang, bang, bang. Oh, did I whack my own thing then out? Oh no. How you doing, Kip? Oh, Amicus and Death Grips have to go in the luggage compartment. They have to sit there and look at me. I can hear Death Grips whining in the luggage compartment underneath the plane. We should get a lot more XP because we're running double curios that give me XP. How much plat still do we get? 45? We need to find more. I'm out of plat seal. I've leveled up my stuff too high, so now I have to play harder levels. I have to grind again.
I'm starting to think I'm being set up for some kind of terrible joke. However, with the Aegis station back in the Mobian 21st hands, we can look at expanding our efforts in Throneside. I trust that my protege was both commanding and discreet. I jest, of course. I see everything. Never forget that. It's good to have reliable underlings, I find. Do bear that in mind. I have high hopes for Hestia, and for you. The Emperor protects.
The Emperor protects. Boxes, box. Kip, you might find this funny. I was sat on the stream today and I got jumped by this guy. My Titan fell off my shelf above me and landed on me. He attacked me. New stream character. Hey guys, I'm here to teach you about Destiny 2, and I hope you guys are ready to learn. Attention, rejects. Oh.
Answer plainly, and maybe there is hope for us.
Well, rejects.
Who do you fight for?
The crashing raid boss, yeah. That's such a cool little rare thing to happen, where all the people shout for the Emperor. Hey look, somebody's dog's name's Rex. We've got Brutus, Reggie, Dread. Oh, are we? No, we're still campaigning. We're still campaigning. Prove your worth in malice threat level assignments to access heresy. Currently 0 of 100. Okay. I see how it is. I'll just keep playing through the campaign then, until I can get that.
All signs point to the Mobians not working alone in this little disaster. They've got help on the inside. Fortunately, the shifting battlefronts have opened up access to Archivum Sycorax. Once you're in the deep archives, your servo skull will help you dig up the dirt. She's a handy lass.
Can I go in that hand like that? Oh, you can.
That's all that's left here.
The Archivum should be just up ahead.
The Archivum. Hey look, Canis.
Glorious
Amicus again. I've just been partnered with him.
Engagement protocol, Captain.
Okay, stick with Bolt Walk and even you can't get lost.
You're showing off. I approve.
We need 2 of us and 2 bots to beat this level. It'll be fine. The game not putting music on those kind of stuff. Just give me my music back. They'll pass through there at some point. That's not my problem. So are we supposed to go down here? And then over here?
I presume
Yeah, we are.
you're not using the front door?
Fear left. By the survey of it. Much more your station
Oh,
in line.
oh, yeah! Oh, we got Anderson now. We have 3. Do we have 3 dogs on the go? Oh, we have Cass as well. What a good dog. What a good dog.
Why are you running, Trapper?
So many dogs. Do we have 4 dogs? Who's the other dog? Mop and Bucket is the name of the dog? The cleaner? Mop and Bucket. That's such a good name. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh. That's so funny. Oh, that hurt. But I'm incoherent with so many dogs, I don't think it matters. We just walk through here, swinging. Oh my god, we just one hit a Scab Rager. Bonked him on the top of the head. Smacked his noggin in, and he's gone.
This war will continue long after our last blood is spent.
Eat your weapon like spade.
Calls himself a shotgunner. Couldn't even survive one shotgun blast. These fellas want to step in the arena. I'll take them on.
Certain refreshing simplicity to our duty. Ammo crate! Simple and satisfying. Plague ogre detected.
Oh, found it.
Nuncio will assess him.
God, it got wiped. It just got wiped off the face of the map. That plague ogre appeared and was gone. That's crazy. You really put it in the battle arena with the buffs and debuffs of the this ult, and they just don't last. The range on this swing is crazy too, I just realized.
Hound inbound, reprobates! The Judge of Terra calls you to serve without fear.
I need to get grabbed by this dog and then have my own dog save me. There we go, penance. 2 penances.
Join up with one another. Form a group.
2 penances in 1.
Action seeker deployed!
We can listen to the Vox pop off.
Group up, people. Finally reached the deep archive, did ya? About time.
Seek! Cast him out!
God, if I was shielded up then, that guy would have done no damage to me and I just tanked it like a king. Come on, fellas, get in the ring. So, options, interface, and the nameplates.
It feels so good to have your approval. Ammo crate! Gunner!
Spreading the words to people that are playing up that you can see their dogs' names. That should just be on by default. You should just be able to see other players' dogs' names from the get-go. Shouldn't have to be something you have to turn on. You should just see character names and not player names, and then the dog names by default. Make it a turn-off feature. First shot cuts through the enemies. Second shot blasts them in half. Third and fourth shot. Ooh.
I have observed your loading for Duquesne.
Your perception is not reality.
And yet your actions are. If I...
Options, interface. You scroll down to... yeah, nameplates. And then companion nameplates and mission. Mine and other players.
None can resist the West.
Monsieur Aquila in motion!
Let's go. Follow her lead. Go, little servo skull. That mutant gets shredded then. Absolutely shredded like no other. This is, in fact, now that I think about it, because I'm not streaming Wednesday, this is the Warhammer Wednesday makeup stream. So this is Warhammer Monday now.
There are answers in this place, but you will require your auspexes to find them. What are you waiting for?
Welcome to Warhammer Monday.
Scan complete. Ready for next phase.
Cease lollygagging and upload your data to the server stuff. Servo Skull engaging Seeker protocols.
I can tank the hit. Plus I can just do this too.
You have arrived.
I thought I dodged a shot as well.
Auspex scan for
I've never scanned in here before.
now.
Regain coherency. I will not ask.
Oh, is there a section above? Oh, that's evil.
Do upload your data hall to the Servo Skull varlets.
Varlets.
Life is such a fleeting pleasure.
How am I feeling about tomorrow? What, doing the repo? I'll be joining for repo for a bit, but you know, starting at 9, I've got to go at 11:15.
More data
But I am
is
joining.
required. This location appears promising. Ready your auspexes and begin your
I don't.
search.
Did I respond to their thread to say that I'd be joining? I can't remember if I responded or not. Oh, I need to go on this side. I think I responded. I can't remember if I did. Yeah, I just know I'm not streaming tomorrow.
The Servo Skull awaits your data.
Well, I might stream repo for a bit tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know. Might be just to jump in and play and go. That dog hit the wall then at like Mach 3. Well then. Enter into the arena if you dare. I'd rather play and go. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna start like the stream up and just gun it from the get-go. Is that over there? Ooh, ammo and healing. Oh, more ammo and healing. The charges getting stopped by the dogs is such a nice touch. To all the horrible enemies in this game, there's so many nice little additions. Like, I'm not going to get my 10-minute intro and then just play it. I think I'm just going to start and just go. Thanks, buddy. Oh, he's died. I do love this guy's name, the Cleaner. I do like my 10-minute intros, though. Listening to music today has been quite nice. We started the stream with a bit of shoe lacing. Listening to the Forbidden SoundCloud playlist. I don't have Process on Steam either. Should I just message Process and get the code? A tomorrow issue. Right, how much did I get from this? GGWP. It's been a while since I've done a GGWP. Okay, but not enough of what I want, which is Diamantine. Only 20? At least the shotgun mastery went up. Oh, still working through the story.
I don't know any more than you do.
I don't know any more than you do.
But you've made war for an unhappy man all over again, and that's good enough for me. You're starting to make yourself a bit of a reputation. Rennick almost did that thing that looks a bit like a smile. Only for a bit, mind. And he went straight back to staring at his data slate. He's been doing that a lot lately. Could be something, could be nothing. But I'd keep your head down if I were you. You'll thank me later.
I mean, what? The game starts at 9? So, you know. Assuming Process is also streaming it, and is going to do preamble, and is going to want to, you know,
Atonement
VTube.
is the very worthiest of goals.
Yes, you're good jog. Yes, you're good jog. You're good jog. Got a new outfit. 24? Shotgun wise, nothing better. Hammer wise, nothing better. 17 gives me 3 more to spend, so I might as well go bap and put another one into execution. The shotgun also at 17 now means I have 8 points to spend. Frenzied, execution. High voltage is good for later on. Critical damage on shots previously hit, and close range, strength for every pellet shot the same enemy. We'll get that leveled. When you're done leveling these, now we have a skill point that can go into 1 effective dodges, plus 1 effective dodge and 24% dodge duration, or movement speed on ranged hits, last 3 seconds. Insane! Free range movement from that. What's this doggo armor like? This is just like... Oh, you get the extra leg. You get the leg, but you get the leg in like a kind of thing. And then you can get it like... I actually like the yellow on the legs on this one. But I like the red stripe on the front more. I don't know. Do I go with the yellow legs? Like Spot the Dog from that that cyber company? I think I like the yellow legs more, actually. Compared to having it all camouflaged with K9 on it and then the red stripe on the one shoulder. I think I actually prefer the yellow legs. We'll go with yellow legs. Any more cosmetics in the frame? I like that it says K9. I also like the red stripe on the other shoulder. Anything in here? View contracts. 8 missions and dregs with range. Well, that's never getting done today. Guns. Shotguns. 152. That's not going to be this. Doctor Who colour scheme as well. True. Toughness, max health. With damage resistance. You know what? We'll take that. 13, 14. We'll swap the 13 for that. And we'll put on... We'll swap it to experience and...
You bear holy weapons. Wield
Recharge.
them in the Omnissiah's cause.
Take this, refine. That's got to be experience. I can't afford to. Damn, maybe not. Maybe no. Experience is the more important thing right now because it gets us into the high level stuff quicker. But we'll save everything else for later because we are going to grind out with Arbite to max level. What some dogs names we've got? We've got Cass again. We've got Brisket. What a good name. We've got Gavel. Here's Mop and Bucket in the cleaner. Mop and Bucket in the cleaner. Let's go. That's so good.
Your courier. We've got an encrypted report needs transmitting to a listening station up in the Big Black. It can't be sent from the Morning Star, so we need an alternate method. A ground-side complex dish. Said dish is on top of Archivum Sycorax, deep in contested territory, so at least you'll not be bored.
Boom, 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 boom.
That one! That one!
Oh, it's the one we have to get this way, okay.
Hey, that way! They're digging deep! Eyes open! Shotgunner! Scared shotgunner! Go! This is how the light is served!
That's the teammate. I'm shooting through him, not at him. Right, I've had really bad luck on this level getting to this next area. So, first things first. Fight zone set up. Let's go. Fight zone. You enter the ring, you get smacked. Death Grips, can you get in, please? Thank you, Death Grips. Got Death Grips, knock him down. I'll finish him off. Or you can just finish him off for me. That also works. What a good dog. Ooh. Lol. Lol. Round the outside, round the outside. Let's go. I'm coming for you. We jump this? We can? Oh my god.
It gives me strength to think of it, Lex, mate.
Main gate's sealed, but I'm sure you can find a way in.
Bonk.
Hear my decree!
I don't know where that's supposed to be coming from. It didn't come from in front of us. That right, that thing. Oh, thank God, more grenades. We can need them in the next area. Nobody survives the shotgun. It's crazy how much it just rips through enemies.
Okay, now find the elevator. Trust me, there's a lot of stairs to the top.
So apparently there's a thing over here for lighting all these. And that does something apparently. Maybe there's an order you have to light them in. You should open that door or something.
Salutations. Hadron online. Data inbound. Continue. Defend. Random inputs until it worked, but it is now working.
Next up, we should then be able to get our next curio. We can get we can start building that up. Oh, that was bad. Dog got him though. I've seen some crazy builds where they use the dog collar to like wipe out enemies, because of like the bonuses you can do with shock damage.
All systems green. Uplink restored.
Good boy, Death Grips. These fellas want to step in the ring, they're going to get whacked.
We're missing a body.
Get him, Death Grips.
Only joking. Your crypt key has access.
Wow, she just pulled a prank on us. Go on, Death Grips.
I have need of your weapon.
I need to check something real quick. If I go to key bindings, is there a button specifically for thanking people? Push to talk is V. Show chat. Move left, move right, crouch. Spectate. Comms wheel. Tag. If I just hold this? Oh. People are actually going out of the way to hold that down and press thanks. God, come on, fellas. None of you even tried to bonk. So we've got Amicus and we've got Death Grips. And then this guy's a shield boy, so he doesn't need a dog. Whoop! Whoop! For the Emperor!
Roof's not far. You can drag yourself there, right?
This way, over the fence.
Arbites must be ever vigilant for the errors of enforcers.
Schwacked. Schwacked.
Field pacifier deployed!
We've got company. You should come back, but you promised.
Alexa Imperialis claims you!
There should be music here, which is really the jarring thing, because we're getting through this so fast. The game doesn't have time to think about where the music's going to be. God, we're just bopping our way through this. We're just swinging our way through. It's like a hockey match. Just going for their legs. Wiping them out. There's nothing they can do to stop me!
No return! Alternate route required!
Durox engagement protocols in effect!
Medicaid
Bonk.
station! A welcome discovery!
And another bonk! Get him, dog! Thank you. Did the dog like hop off the wall then? That's crazy.
Does your courage fail you? The battle is here!
Data stream. Acceptable quality.
I'm gonna stand up here. I kind of want to be in the center of it all, so when it pops off, I can pop my mobility. Like here.
None can resist Alex!
Welcome to the fight zone.
Simply heal or perish!
Your repeated failure is making me testy. Systems green. Uplink resuming. As you
Uplink
were.
resumed as you were.
Alex has found you!
Death Grip's got the sniper.
You have somehow succeeded in resolving the issue.
I heard that trapper. Don't know where it is, but I heard it.
Data interrogation.
Come on, let me put it down. There we go.
Interrogator status inoperative. Remedy reboot.
You step in the fight ring, you get smacked. Let's go.
Done the art part. Now all you need to do is key the transmission.
This bit's very cool. The laser going off. Burning nipple.
Nuncio Aquila set and running!
There we go. Oh, the dog's in the ship! Yay! An actual cutscene with the dog in the ship. GGWP. GGWP 4? Don't know where that 4 came from, but I'll take it. That's another 20 steel. An Emperor's gift of a new combat shotgun. Shock Maul should level to 18 now. Yeah, and Terminator shotgun to 18 as well. We're all so cool.
signal's away and our report with it. I don't know who it's for. Rannick's playing things even closer than normal right now. I reckon he's taking Zola's moment of initiative harder than he pretends. He's not one to trust easily, so even small betrayals cut deep. That's what comes from overthinking things. Still, at least Zola's still breathing. Doesn't always end that way with Rannick. But the war goes on and we're playing our part.
The war goes
That's
on.
what soldiers do. So hold your heads high until I call for you again, yeah?
But the war goes on. Ugh. A gross and terrible shotgun. Wait, I just thought masteries. I could do these real quick. We get another 3, so we go level, and we go. There we go. And then shotgun. We can probably get. We've got 4. Damn, didn't spend them in time. What if I can do it now? Masteries. Here, shotgun. Finish you. Finish you. Start you. Loadout wise, we got a new shotgun that's terrible in comparison to what we're already using. Talents wise, we have an extra skill point which we are spending on Terminus Warrants, so that ranged attacks gain stacks of melee justice for each enemy hit. Melee hits remove a stack. One of your stacks of melee justice, you gain impact. Basically, we're going to pop off Queen, and that's it for now. Me and Schiller over
You've
here.
done what more generous men might call commendable work in following the trail of the blighted Stims. The next step awaits. You're returning to the carnival, to the district surrounding the Cathedral of Messalina Vengeant. Though whatever holiness once touched this area was long departed. I've analyzed the data, and it would appear that the cathedral is in fact the next link in this squalid little chain. Proceed there at best speed, taking care not to die before strictly necessary.
I still don't like
Ooh,
this, Interrogator.
Big Cloud.
It feels like we're walking into a trap.
And you'd know all about that, wouldn't you? Have no fear. Preparation will happen.
Wow, Rannick. Really just like selling his own people under the, like, throwing them under the bus. What's Schiller's dog's name? X23 Ray.
Go there! Boratoma!
Boratoma. Imagine you're one of the guys, and then suddenly you see a like Judge Dredd style cop walk in and blast your friend to pieces with a shotgun. No instigation, no nothing. You're just there and then suddenly bang, gone.
The flies speak to us of interlopers, of one bearing the all-seeing eye. So hast thou said many times, flies. A failure thou art, Captain.
Who was that? What was that?
I don't know.
Yes, we're all very impressed.
Damn, I should have saved my thing for here. Would have been way better.
Yes, it is. Couldn't blindly send all
Poppy's just running. Bonk time! Welcome to the fight arena. Welcome to the fighting ring. Aww. We've gained a Psyker. A no fun Psyker. You can just shifted this level.
Lie to us again. Speak to us of how this is under thy control. Wait. Just wait. They will come no further. Thy confidence.
Oh, we're literally just waiting for Schiller. He'll be on his way.
I must heal for the Emperor, I'm sure.
For the legs. This way.
Naturally.
For the Emperor.
I will survive.
Go there.
Duke?
Run you down.
Oh, wait. I just called him by his dog name.
Ah, another ambush. Still playing the game.
You're cornered. Take defensive positions and trust to the Emperor.
Calm down, Augustine.
You have nothing but ice in your veins.
Grandfather is watching. The grandfather is displeased. This is oversight. We hope that it is so, for thy sake.
Please, this is not past. Not yet.
So thou sayest, we watch, unimpressed.
I'm just gonna like macro it so that it just tells people that they can turn that on. I feel like I need an auto-paced macro to tell people. Remember people that were told that are like, no, I didn't know that. It's like, yeah.
Thy soldiers have failed.
Come on, come on.
Unleash
Come on.
holy retribution.
Come on, send a big boy in.
I believe we have reached the crisis point.
Your abomination is surprising me durable. Yes.
So much for the
That's hilarious.
Hold thy tongue. Our patience runs thin enough as it is.
X23 Ray.
Themselves admonition. I should have seen it. And that they were the true architect of this unpleasantness.
Now is not the time for recriminations.
Very kind but untrue. There will be recriminations enough to last a lifetime.
Twitch Psycho.
We should avail ourselves of that med station.
Too little was the effort. Mustered too
Strike team, we cannot know what you will face is there. What I do know is that the bleakest of heresy musters beyond that door. Prove yourself worthy of explicated Nova's trust and my indulgence. End it.
I need to find an enemy at range, whatever class is range to shoot. There we go. I get my movement speed for 30 seconds. I have 30 stacks of my melee teams as well.
Station! For the Emperor!
We've been through this before, so.
Those stims are clearly part of it.
Oh no, it's different this time.
Silence, please, now.
The rites of welcome. Uh-oh. That's it. That's the end of it. Look, I find that it's been so much harder in the past. That it feels like you blitz it now.
I don't know, but I mean to find out. For today, it is enough to know that they failed.
Let them wallow in victory.
Bum 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 bum. Did we get any levels for that as we push through more of the story?
Were I a man to deliver thanks or hearty congratulations, I'd offer both. Once again, you had to fend for yourselves on a mission gone awry, and performed with gusto. Not only did you put an end to the ritual, but we also have a name to put to our pains. Admonition. Their motives and goals may remain opaque for the moment, but names hold power. For the record, I'm still not going to trouble myself to learn yours. However, you may consider me gravely impressed. You can be sure I'll find work for you again soon.
Oh, cool. Maelstrom missions unlocked. Visit the mission terminals to find them. Let's go! Maelstrom unlocked.
Tell me of your deeds, so that I may record them.
Damn, so close to getting... We get a backpack for the Ogrin. Literally just... Okay, whatever. Where's Arby? What do I need to do for Arby at the moment? 25, 30... 25 missions at Arby, we've done 17, 50, 75, 100. Malice or higher. Heresy threat or higher. Damnation or higher. We'll be pushing for max level on this. For the Emperor, so have yourself massive knock away 50 mutants and box bursters counts once per enemy, 28. That's guard command. Oathbound, the Lex, Defiant, which is prove your worth, Malice threat or higher, Heresy threat or higher, Damnation or higher. Cybermassive Pants on bombers for targeted kills, and then block damage from 250 unique enemies. And then I also need to do like a bunch of other stuff to get some of these. These should be all like fairly easy to do, as far as I'm aware. Right, did I get anything from this one? Did I got a shotgun. I did get a new talent. So, stacks of ranged justice, you get 20% reload speed. Swapping to your melee weapon while you have 50 mana stacks or more grants you 15% melee speed until you run out of stacks, or swap to your ranged weapon. Swapping to your ranged weapon while you have 15 gives you 15% fire rate. While you have stacks of melee justice, you gain 100% melee toughness regeneration and allies incoherency, but replenish any toughness that you replenish. That's insane. And I think we can still go through and get these too. That's crazy. What? I'm always gonna have stacks of that because it's a shotgun. What's he got? 270, 152, and 213. What's my shield currently? 221, 230. 221, 230. So that's not better anyway, and that's not better anyway. None of these are going to exceed what I'm using currently. Wounds and max health with sprint efficiency. 15. Transaction. But then I haven't got enough anything. I've only got 81. But anyway. And I don't get my next one till 24, and I'm 20 now, and I've got 10 more levels to go. I'm not even sure how much story I've got left. Just quick play, uprising. Prove your worth in Malice threat assignments, access heresy. Is that it? That's just story? So I need to do Malice threat, so uprising. Special event. Mission options. Ah, I've been playing Uprising, right? So now I have to play through Malice. So I'll just quick play Malice missions for the next 40 minutes. I get how that works now.
Ominous sire be
Ominous, sire.
Have located a foundryplex in the interzone void. With access to such facilities, we can produce the Mobian steel of old, rather than the substandard modern formulation. Initiate contact with our informant, follow his instructions, and wake the foundryplex. Understood?
We keep going. At some point we're going to switch over to shield and become weak again. Oh look, it's Swagger.
Even a fellow of such prodigious capacities as myself can grow bored.
Operative codename Swagger is disagreeable. I may yet call upon you to terminate him, varlets.
What a wicked world this is, and so bereft of trust. I am heartbroken.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm sure. May we now proceed?
I obey, O wise and lanky one.
Alas, the inner void is large and our time limited. We will need to restore power to the lateral shuttle in order to access the foundryplex's heart.
Such tasks lie within these operatives' abilities. Well, for 3 of them.
The bot killed it. Damn. Stupid bot. That's like the best and worst place that you can have that situation happen. Because he will just throw you off the map if he gets the opportunity.
Medicaid station. A welcome discovery. Don't flash. There's a sniper nearby. Alexa found you.
That was a bit risky, wasn't it?
I believe you mean the Synchronisters.
Holy.
Begin the sequence again.
Alexa Imperiale claims you. Mine in place.
So much dog killing action, it's so good. There's no timer on this one, so you can just be doing this one over and over. There we go. The need to run through levels is still there from how easy the ones were. Welcome to Fight Club. Anything goes in Fight Club.
Look out! Hound!
It's so funny him shouting "Look out, hound" to our dog. Get in the fucking thing, man. Come on.
I would appreciate
taking the
knowing
Michael.
how you discovered the location of this foundryplex.
I have my ways. I hear so many interesting stories, especially about you, dear lady. Why,
My endeavors are not a suitable topic for conversation.
I stand humble and chastened.
At last, the shores of the foundryplex. Proceed, varlets. Let us wake the holy machine.
Put forward. I shall guarantee your line of retreat should it be required.
It's weird hearing the Psycho voice that my Psycho uses, but not from my Psycho.
Let the machine spirit awaken. Coax it forth.
There should be an activator nearby. Start with that.
How you can, abomination! You will perish, eventually! Focus your fire! Hear my decree!
There we go. We're good.
Ah, yes. The joy of being a human bioscanner for an uncaring Tranquility comes a step closer.
I'm not even the right class to be blocking damage, and somehow I've done it 7 times.
The failure point is located somewhere above you. Attend. Redress.
Don't need it.
You do the Omnissiah a great service this day.
How splendid. Though I confess I hoped for a more functional expression of thanks.
I don't know why.
This might be the last run for the night.
Better.
I'm thinking this is probably going to be the last one for the evening.
Ice buildup has impeded function. Rectify. At once.
Station seeker deployed! Your beneficent empire, unfairly and
Function is restored. You may proceed to the foundry plexus aquarium.
In case you were wondering, I disabled the auto defense.
This way! I am certain of it!
The Tox Flamer isn't a problem now!
I wonder if that guy went down. Oh, fuck off, come on. It will appear in the next area, taking a bloody piss kid in the Tox Flame.
It seems that I did disable the Skyfire. Splendid.
Good. Let us now harness the mysteries of the Omnissiah. Let us call forth Mobian Steel.
Mobian Steel.
The team will indulge me in getting things moving. I shall repair to the control oubliette post haste.
Fires up for the final fight.
Tox Burster's coming in!
I am fast and dead, Weepy!
Down goes the Cypher. How many times is that? It makes it fun!
The light speaks! The hound perishes! Target the first time!
Just don't need them for that bit at all.
The Cypher might activate
Launch your Aquila set and running!
Good dog. Damn, it's unlucky, that one. One. Two. Three. Four. There we go. Where is it? Where is it? I see it.
Rejoice, varlets, for you have done holy work this day. The war for Atoma is forever changed.
That worked out rather well. Storm Surface inbound. Ready for pickup.
There we go. And now we just leave. Oh, look at that. Purple clothing for the dog. Bye, swagger. We should get a higher payout. There we are, 90. That's more like it. And both sets of weapons to 19.
You continue to almost completely fail to disappoint. Well done. The secret to Novian steel is at last within our grasp, though I do not expect you to comprehend its wonder. But you might have arranged to leave this swagger down there. The Morning Star is no place for this individual, no matter what loyalties he claims. I am certain that I am not alone in this opinion, which I suppose makes for a pleasing change.
I didn't get what any of that meant. All I know is I got new weapon and what's this dog's name? Cerberus and Fenrir and Loyola. And who have we got here? Gotrek. Man, I love all the dog names. There's another dog up here. What's this dog's name? This dog is called... There's two. There's Rex and Cater. Good names. Good dog names.
Let me guide you in the act of peace.
Thank you. Thank you. And then claim my rewards. Give me other characters. Right, I got a weapon. It's terrible. I got a cosmetic for the dog. Woo! Robohound with brain in can. Let's go. Talents wise. Damage to Ogryns and monstrosities. Damage to enemies above 75% health. Require me to get effective dodges. No, I'll do that one. Masteries wise, 19. We get 5 to fill in that. Wait, I could probably finish both of them, or at least one of them.
How may this humble unit assist you?
I wonder if I can consecrate.
Allow me to maximize the combat potential of your armaments.
What's 226302? What's mine? Oh, yeah, no, I definitely sacrifice him to.
Many heroes have borne your arms before you. Others will do so after your passing.
There we go, and we get a nice red shockmaw. Even though it's not already red. It's already red, but we get a redder shockmaw.
Tell me, what tendencies?
Marks on this, none. Cosmetics wise. No, we're having the fist on it. Slag! Hey Slag!
Manam's leg raided my stream with 5 views.
Welcome in, Slag and Sleggy boys and Sleggy girls. How you guys doing tonight? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it. Hey fellas, how's it doing? What are you playing, Slag?
Each weapon is a relic. It should be cared for as such.
I'm just trying to cheat levels into weapons. 152. That's good. Redeemed. Never been called a Sleggy boy before, but I'll take it. A game called Pilgrims? What do you do in Pilgrims? 260. That's gotta go. Yeah, sod it. We'll sacrifice it all. I want to level up the shotgun. We'll do another run.
Your departure was anticipated.
Welcome in everybody. I am Dux. I am a sort of variety streamer. I've mostly been playing RPGs recently, and I make it for the fact that I usually would stream on Wednesday doing Warhammer Wednesday, and instead I am streaming today because I will not be streaming Wednesday. I will be back tomorrow with Repo. We're gonna do another run in Dark Tide. I'm just looking at how I get the higher difficulties, but I can't see the number I need to. Oh, 20. So I need to do 5 missions at Malice, and then I can unlock the other difficulties. Would have been good to know when I was playing through the story that I could have bumped the difficulties up, but hey, we're just running through at the moment. There's a new character called the Arbitrator that's out, and here is my pet mastiff, Death Grips. He's a good boy. Slag, if you need to raid and run, feel free. It was a strange one, didn't take too long to complete. That's good. That's nice. Did you finish Party Hard? Have you played Party Hard 2 yet?
You're gonna redirect a train carrying an arch heretic and ambush him on the platform. Got it? Then let's find out what you made.
Man, I shouldn't have got rid of all the ads. I could have shown you guys the ads that I set up for third stream. You guys would like that. They completed the party hard. Nice. I think I don't have many achievements left to get in that game. I think it's just like kill people. Bonk, bonk, bonk. So, to explain this game, if you guys don't know what this game is, it's a Warhammer game. It is called Darktide. It's sort of like Left 4 Dead 2, but in the Warhammer universe. So you start at one end of a level, you gotta get through the other, and you've got enemies to kill in between. There's a new character called the Arbitrator, who basically is a Robocop with a dog. And I just created a fight ring. So it might seem like a lot that's going on. Really, it's just like, see enemy coming, dodge enemy. Oh, and he got me, but the dog saved me. We have this really overpowered shotgun and a really overpowered electric hammer. That's a lot of fun. And yeah, it's, you know, just sort of running through levels as fast as possible, because with the dog you can like skip through so much of the level. And they put a bunch of things in for like ranged attacking in this for my character for some reason with this shotgun, so you can just like blast people from a mile away and then get like speed buffs for doing it. And because my ability, one of my things is, if I just put this here real quick, the Lex is the law. I can just put that down. Enemies that run into that get debuffed, and as long as I'm in the circle in some level, I get buffed. That explains like all of my character, and it explains why I'm so far away from them, because I literally don't need to be near them at any time now, because I just can move through levels so fast. So, all fun and games. So what got you into playing Pilgrim, Slag? Do you just have like a list of games that you're just working through? Or do you just like have like a random wheel or something?
Pressure airlocks help the hive maintain integrity in the event of a disaster. I can't clear you to proceed unless you're all in.
And have you played Peak yet, Slag? Gotcha. It's so hot in the UK right now, I'm sweating so bad. It's this level. My favourite part of this level is the bit where we have to stand and survive in the middle now. If nobody else touches that, I can do this real quick. I can cheese this. I can put these out. I can grab this. So now we have electric down here just set up. They'll be fine, they don't need me. We've got Officer Jenny. Officer Jenny is such a good name for a character. Come on, Death Grips. They're in the fight zone, they get the bonk. Do, 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 do. Bo, 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 bo.
Green across the board. Don't know what you did, but you really did.
I didn't realize how many hits I tanked in a little section.
I cannot enjoy. And yet, I must.
Just standing here. We'll get a second run in here. You're in the fight zone, fellas. You get the stick. Subject 610. 626 is Stitch. Which one's 620 or 610? remember, chat, the Lex has found you. As it has found me, it has found you. Go on, Jenny. Spamming the button. There we go. Can we get a boss here? Maybe? Mini boss? Mini boss to slow us down? No? How did they get down back there? We're so far ahead of them. So far ahead. Oh. That hurt.
Oh, this is suboptimal.
I did this. Oh.
Catch a guy at the station. If they'd done their job right, they'd have weeded out the heretics before this went sideways. It always falls to the soldiers.
Oh, so if you're still here, I have a request of you, which I'll be trying to make a post in Ghost's Discord, in like the Ghost Taking a couple Discord soon about this. I need audio ads of like advertising like your stream, like just MP3s of you advertising your stream, like a fake radio ad of stuff. Like either one advertising your own stream or advertising a fake product or a real product, but a parody ad. I'm putting them all in a video game. So I need fake ads making. I want them to sort of slot in randomly within songs.
The good I did while I was able. Little of value is achieved without sacrifice.
God, we're just swinging at heads right now. Oh, they ruined my phone. That psycho ruined all my fun. I set up a fight arena and then they killed everyone before I could fight them all. That's so sad. I was so excited to get to fight people. Can I have that? Thanks. I need that.
Keep going. You're on the wrong side of the station.
Charge that shotgunner! Take them down!
Pretty much don't need these guys to the end. It's that last fight where I'm gonna struggle.
With the Judge of Terra as my witness, I will yet forge you into an effective combat unit.
Go on, dog. Get him. Might as well full heal. Jeez. Hard sneezes. Anybody? Oh, we're literally waiting for Castillo. Well, we might be here for a little bit. Thanks, Snake. Yeah, I need like a radio ad, like a 15 to 35 second radio ad advertising your stream. Just an MP3 of you just being like, you know, I don't know. Advertise your stream. It's gonna go in a game that I'm gonna be playing on the radio. That's gonna be playing when I stream in the in-game radio. So I need like fake ads of things. At least you just want to stall these guys so I can stand here and fight them. Oh, no way! As if I got trappered. Can I mark the dogs to get the trapper? I can. So yeah, I need like ads. I need like fake ads. Fortifying command? Oh, dog. That was just the dog killing stuff. They got through this guy quick. I got blasted by my own shotgun shot twice. And then it was done. That's crazy. GG. We just stand here now, literally to the end. Yeah, I need like fake ads, like of all sorts. If you want to make a fake ad for an actual brand, or like a fake ad for a fake product, as well as a fake, like an ad for your stream, and just make multiple like 30-second radio ads that are just gonna play in between songs that are gonna play on this radio. I'm gonna be making a Discord for it, and I'll be posting that in places. We've leveled the shotgun. Can I skip this? I can skip this cutscene because I've seen it. So yeah, my plan is I've got we're gonna be watching YouTube videos, but in the actual game that chat will be able to skip or add videos to. And then we're also gonna have a radio that's gonna be playing in the background with ads that will play as like I go about. So
through service, we atone for our sins.
Right, so shotgun, cosmetics, current, or new one, deliverance. We'll go with the red and golden one for sure. Do we have marks for this? Oh, it's significantly worse. We don't swap the mark on that at all. Masteries, right? So we can max these out. And we can max this out too. So now we need a vigilant auto gun or a subductor shot pistol and riot shield. So 221230 on that. And then we need
Unit operational.
30 seconds and that'll switch out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in our secondary slot. Oh, I just crash it? Is it just crashed? No. I bought my guns and then the shop's going to reset. So now I've got to wait for the shop to go through. Unless it's just gone down. There we go. Right, let's check shop real quick.
What is your instruction?
No. We'll buy it. Just because it doesn't matter if you buy it or not. We'll buy that too. Compared to everything else. Nope. Wounds and toughness. Are we at the point where we can have a third curio? We haven't. So that's maxed. 871, 844, 853, 886, 786, 808. So 886 is going to be the highest, so we'll favourite that too. That's favorited, so that can go. This Shot commander special shield. Let's buy a bunch just of these.
Greetings, operative.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Transaction authorized.
Because these are just going to get stronger as well. So our current top one is 221. 227's outclassed it. Do we have anything higher than 227? We do not. Okay, so we can masteries that. How do we? Oh, one more to spend. There we go. So we're going to be running double shield. I don't know how that works with us going for ranged on our build. At this point, we should probably swap over to Castigator's stance. And melee toughness regeneration. So Castigator's stance we definitely want, and then we need to buff this up. So for we gain movement speed, but we can't run. And we replenish all our toughness. So we are literally a tanky shield boy right now. Lone Wolf. Damage reductions and everything. Submassive priorities and elites and specials and does extra damage to them. Yeah, I think we can get rid of that. Each elite or special grants 15%. No, that maxes stacks. Staggering enemy grants a stack with damage resistance. Right, so we're double shielding. We shall sacrifice weapons into this if we can. 1, 2, 3. Into the shield first. So we're going to be double shielded to all hell. Can we entreat either of these? I need to get rid of the ones that aren't favorited. So this needs favoriting. And this favoriting. So that I can go discard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weapons. Yeah, we'll go with the combat shotgun too. Get some money back. And then we go discard here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, can't do that one. Okay. Now we should be able to go to entreat. Can we consecrate this? How many times? Once, twice, and then 3 times. Okay. So then we can consecrate this 1, 2, 3 times. So at least they're slightly stronger. Masteries wise, we get 1 perk. Staggering enemies. Attack speed for 5 seconds on perfect block. Block breaks push enemies. 18-second cooldown with a block cost. Stack of summon spent blocking. A stack for each. Your next melee attack gains strength per stack and consumes 1 stack. Perfect block. Electrocutes enemies. Strength as stamina depletes. Impact. And toughness. So we want a hammer blow. That's for sure. Then what can you get? Nothing yet. Stagger enemies. Scales with stagger. Critical chance. Cleave. Hit 5 with this weapon while sprinting. Strength on close range. Strength on 0.4 while aiming. Stacks 5 times. Strength for 5 seconds. So discharges all stacks when firing. So I can build up 5 stacks. 4, 8, 12. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. 2 seconds and I get 5 stacks, which is like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25% damage extra for aiming for 2 seconds. That seems OP. Melee weak spot and block efficiency. What do we have in these? Flak and Carapace. So yeah, we'll go with. We'll sort that real quick with these. So we want to refine them at level 1. So we want something else. Damage, increased melee, stamina, sprint efficiency. Melee crit chance. I guess we'd go damage on unyielding for now.
Interesting.
And then here, refine. Sprint, efficiency, and stamina. We definitely don't want sprint. Reload speed. And
I trust you are pleased, Varlet.
we go for unyielding. We're gonna have an interesting couple streams after this. When next time we stream this, maybe Thursday, we are gonna suck for a little bit. That can go. Gives me a tiny bit of money back. 227, and it can be buffed. Where's the person that lets me change how my character looks? Over here, aren't they? I want to change my character's hair. Once that's done, what's this dog called real quick? Rhodes, good name. What's this dog called? Cerberus. So many Cerberuses. Cody Milo, good name. It's in here. Oh. And then Ripper Doc here.
Well, hello, my friend. So you received my invitation? Even in the thick of war, it's not all marching around, shooting and shouting, you know. There's still room for art, huh? Not for Oscar Kral, the mediums of parchment or cold stone. No, 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 no. I sculpt in blood and bone, peeling back fleshy illusion to reveal shining truth hidden within. So many truths, so difficult to bring to the surface, but I persevere. The craft demands it.
Oh.
Together, we will make a masterpiece of you. You'll see. And if we don't succeed, well, there's always tomorrow.
Crazy that he's just like hand smashing something into this guy's arm.
My name's Kral, Oscar Kral. I specialize in new outlooks on life. Don't like your ears, your hair, your nose? I can fix that for a price. Make you the talk of the Morning Star.
I think that's it. That's all I wanted to change.
Oh yes, I always enjoy that one.
No, height's perfectly fine.
Nice talking.
There we go. Now we have hair sticking at the top of our helmet. That's better. We had crap hair before. Now we have a full head of hair. We can edit death grips as well, but I'm not going to. Right, chat room. I am considering this stream over for the day. And then let's find something to raid into. Has anybody got any suggestions? We're going to pass the love on today. Let me put some... I know who we're going to raid into. I'm going to send you over to Alexis, who's doing more Elden Ring. We're going to raid into Bestest Alexis. We'll finish on our high song. Chat, I hope to see you all tomorrow for the Reaper stream. I will be back tomorrow, at Thursday, and maybe Friday. We shall see. Bye, chat.